on day 3 of Resistance Festival 2023, and I'm joined by the wonderful Miss X, who just did a DJ set on Friday night, which blew my fucking mind. And we're also joined by Jörg. Now, you may recognise them both from Straftanz as well, so thank you ever so much for joining.
Thank you for having us.
X is going to do most of the talking because X was booked, but we do have the wonderful Jörg too, which I've always wanted on camera, so
yay, finally!
Alright, so for people that haven't really sort of known much about you before, because this was pretty much your first ever, describe what you do and what you sound like.
Techno mainly, sometimes also have more housey stuff, and anything that falls into that general ballpark really.
Yeah, because it was some really heavy stuff that you played, so yeah, is that just stuff you found? Is some of it yours?
Mainly stuff that I found, and 2 tracks that we made ourselves.
Yeah, because you released, played 2 tracks that you've both been working on, but it wasn't Straftanz, was it? It was something else. So tell us what's going on with you guys. What's going on with your music?
We are starting a new project because this whole Straftanz thing has sort of run its course.
Yeah, particularly for me, I mean, you jumped on to help out because we needed someone to help out last year, but really this thing is rather over.
Yeah. So new project. We're calling it Mutual Aid because we read Kropotkin recently, and he talks about this idea of Darwinism and how this is always presented as survival of the strongest.
Okay.
When really, in nature, there is a lot of mutual aid going on, lots of symbiotic relationships and stuff like that, and really this is the same with people. And we found that pretty inspiring, actually.
Yeah, you have this whole thing going on, particularly, in people and in places where people like to think about, the dark aspects of life, and then you find concepts such as the purge, right? and then you're actually looking around yourself, particularly in the past years. We have the pandemic, we have the war in Ukraine at the moment, but the response to people, or when there's an earthquake or something like that, is at least in the very beginning, in the direct surroundings, not what they see in the media, but when people see suffering around themselves, they are not trying to get this person's purse, they're helping.
Yeah.
This is an absolutely natural response, but quite often we pretend that this is not so, and we find it to be so amusing.
Yeah, we think that if 24 hours of no laws being in effect were to happen, it would rather be raves in the park.
Yeah.
Lots of drug use.
More drug use,
Exactly, right? I mean, you wouldn't. I don't expect you to have like a list of people. This person I would totally break a face in, and this other person, I would totally cut the head off or something. Nobody's doing that. Come on.
That's not the to-do list.
Yeah, it's all about love, really, isn't it? And I suppose that's what draws you both to the goth scene, because it is that mutual support and love, isn't it?
Yes, especially here. Everybody here is super open, super friendly, and I usually come home with 5 new friends whenever I come to Resistance. At least, yeah.
And it doesn't even need to be love. It doesn't need to be that romantic. Love is there too, and it's important, right? But even if there isn't love, people are willing to aid even when they don't love. This is not like, there is this whole divine cool shit. But to be nice to each other, we don't need the divine cool shit. We just need to be, survivable as a species, as a scene, as a culture, right? And that doesn't work without it at all.
Yeah, if you need an invisible man in the sky to keep you a good person, you're not a good person.
Yeah, also if you need the die-hard competition of the market to make good things, that doesn't make sense either.
No.
Because, if we would be competing all the goddamn time, we would be so worn out that we can't do shit anymore. And then what's the point of everything?
That's not how that works, really.
It sounds like a really good concept for what you're working on then. What was the name of it again, sorry?
Mutual aid.
Mutual aid.
Really and that's gonna be like dark techno, stuff that sounds like a kick drum in a bunker. Water dripping from the ceiling, We are underground, but we keep going.
We keep referring to it as bunker techno.
I like it. Okay, and so X, you've not been sort of performing long, shall we say, because during lockdown, I think you were learning to DJ with weren't you, for the lockdown sessions that you did, which thank you ever so much. I've had so many people come up to me and say that you basically kept them going with your lockdown sessions. So thank you for that.
It's what kept us going, really.
Obviously, you jumped in with Straftanz last Resistance, and now you're solo this weekend. So what's been your happiest moment when it comes to the music?
I really enjoyed performing last year and setting everything up. That was really a new experience for me, and that was really cool to think about what's our concept, how are we gonna pull this off practically, and of course having far too many people on stage for what we actually need to do. We also didn't really tell Leighton beforehand about the cocktail bar. Oh. So we just saw all the drinks appearing and went, oh no.
He just saw his face wrong.
What are they doing?
That's a good concept.
That was really good.
So yeah, if you weren't there at Resistance last year, you obviously had these two guys jumping on as Resistance, you had ex-DJing to begin with, then you had just like 2 or 3 other bands join in. There was a cocktail bar, just free drinks handed out to the crowd. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and we of course had Kai and Hilga in, and it was actually really cool, because I planned to not do any sort of running the show and playing the tracks and stuff like that, because I expected that I had to do much more vocals, because I thought Kai couldn't make it, but Kai could make it.
Yeah. But by that point, we'd already asked Matt and Brian and like 3 other people if they could join in to sort of make up for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the kind of performer that could do that for the whole of the show, so so we asked other people for help. So she had to do my role. So she rehearsed to do my role, and then Kai was back, and then we were way too many people. That was the result of it.
Very fun though.
And have you had a particularly good fan moment yet?
So many of them.
So many. Yeah. Last year a lot of people came up to us to talk about the live streams, which was really cool. Because you're just doing this in front of a camera at home and there's some response in the chat, but other than that...
I mean, I also had fan moments in terms of Jesus Christ, I was so happy to see Blink 242. This was
yes.
I'm fanboying. This was such good entertainment.
Yeah, me and my partner have been begging Andy to make an album now.
Yes.
It would do so well. Okay, and just going away from music for a minute. So obviously the last few years have been batshit insane. We've had COVID, we've had Trump, we've had all sorts of bizarre shit. So what are your predictions for things that could happen in the world by the end of the year?
Oh.
Cool.
What was the one that you had? Nicola Sturgeon's husband being PM? Because
Yes.
you need a criminal record for that?
Yes.
It's like a qualification.
Sturgeon is absolutely going to be next PM. I think this is actually likely.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't. During the pandemic, I had a Doom bingo card.
Yeah.
And I had stuff on that, like I don't know.
Next pandemic.
Great Pyramid vanishes in a sinkhole. Didn't happen.
Next pandemic shows up, nobody takes it seriously because it was fine last time, and then
Everybody
you know,
dies.
10 million people dead in a week. Also didn't happen, which is
also didn't happen. So actually, I'm trying to have a more positive outlook now.
Yes.
I think this 2023 is going to be a 10 out of 10 year.
I'm hopeful.
So we've had the low, now you high.
It's always like this, right? I mean, you can't always be blissful. It needs to be an up and down. We are not like Buddhist monks, you know, that are like, you know, no pleasure, no pain and shit
Zen
like that.
all
No,
the
I
time.
want the pain and the pleasure,
Yeah.
and you know.
Get a bit of everything in there.
Perfect. And so you come from Belgium, is it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Belgium and Germany.
Oh, okay. So, then, if you were Prime Minister or Madam President for long enough to make a difference, what would be the first thing that you would do?
In Belgium, or?
Well, in Belgium, yeah. Or wherever if you're
Oh.
living. Wherever you're living, really.
I have
Are
to
you
say
living in
Belgium's a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, the question is, can you do anything there politically? I mean,
We have 7 governments.
7 government. What?
We have
yeah,
3
and-
language communities, and they all have their own governments. And Brussels has its own government, and then you have the national government, and it's a shit show.
Okay. So, are you living in
So
Germany
it's,
at the moment?
No.
No.
we're,
We're going up and
We're
down.
traveling back and forth.
You know, the
quite a
places
bit.
are very different. You know, Antwerp is quite posh. Where I live, that's the poorest community in Western Germany, but it has, you know, different advantages.
Yeah.
My place is cheap. Her place is pretty cool. You know, they have Rubens. We have, I don't know.
We have a nightlife.
We have not. We have a nice park.
We don't.
Okay, so let's say you were both in charge of Europe for long enough to make a difference. What would you do then?
Better refugee policies.
It's a good one.
Difficult. Extremely difficult. You know, this is
Yeah.
big scale shit.
Just too much, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Too much. Okay.
You know, honestly, I would set up different monetary systems. I would make sure that actually there is enough government spending to put most people into work.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the biggest problems at the moment is that we have so many people that are either in bullshit jobs or that are not working. So that means that we have resources that we are currently not using. And there is no money for that, but actually money is something that can be printed. And so my position is, let's print money to put people into work, because then they are going to create value, and this value created is going to make our society better.
Yeah.
You know, at the moment we are making money for money's sake, but you know, here in the UK we have stuff like, you know,
sake.
I know how they always say, you know, if you print more money, money's worth less. But, you know, you take out a loan and then someone just adds a 0 to that, and that's new money. And it's like, well, that doesn't make anything cheaper.
No.
Let's just print more money.
If you are selling, let's say, you know, industrial records, right? When you are making the price for one CD of industrial record, I know that doesn't exist, but you know, bear with me, right? I mean, how do you make the price? Are you checking what is the total amount of money at the moment in existence, or do you check what are people actually able to spend on this, right? Or how much is it to make this item? Right, and then I put my 20% on top or something like that. This is logical, but
imagine
in the
having
end,
to check how much money is in circulation.
you know, if a government creates money, it goes to the central bank and says it needs a credit. This credit is then paid back. But this, if all loans are paid back, there is no money, because every unit of money that was ever created came from a central bank out of a bank account that then had, you know.
Well, someone needs to then tell Blink 242 that if they do make an album, they may end up pushing up the prices for everyone because their album is just too successful.
Yeah,
that's going to cause a lot of inflation.
Yeah. Actually, I think they should simply make the price of the album totally dependent on the existence of how much money there is. You know, you know, the some debt ceiling shit. You know, and then you're like, okay, today we have more debt ceiling. Whatever now, and now this CD is like 5p more.
Price went up.
Price went up. Numbers go up. Stonks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to the music now. So you said obviously Straftanz has pretty much run its course.
Yeah.
And of course you guys finished on such an incredible bang last year. Who's this?
It's Boris the Turnip, but just leave him here.
Boris the Turnip. Okay, cool. That was
Thanks.
nice. Yeah.
We went out with a bang. We totally went out.
Yes. So where you've been sort of DJing and learning how to DJ, and now you are flourishing, has there been a moment in the last few years where you've nearly given up on doing it?
I think after a year and a half, we'd been doing the live streams literally every Saturday for an extended period of time.
Which is hard. Yeah.
Then at some point you just need a break. And that's the first time when we were really like, okay, it's been good for a bit.
Yeah.
So we took 2 weeks, I think,
Yeah.
month, something like that, and
then on the other hand, we started doing production.
yeah,
So that sort of brought you back into it, gave you that dopamine again.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been really fun playing around and figuring out what sounds we can make and how to arrange them.
Okay. And if you were to put on your own dream festival, who would be the 3 bands you would choose to headline?
Township Rebellion, definitely. We're really into Holland at the moment, I think.
Yeah, Township Rebellion Holland. I don't know whether it would fit together.
I'm not sure.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Your festival.
I Hate Models could be really cool.
I had models could be really cool. Yeah.
Shame they couldn't make it this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. And now with the scene, what do you think are some of the biggest issues facing the goth scene?
It depends on where you are talking.
In general, I suppose, across, I mean, you've visited so many countries.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen a recurring issue?
Yeah.
In mainland Europe, there's a lot of there's not a lot of progress being made, really. So everybody wants to be safe and do the same thing that they've been doing for the past 10, 20 years in the same outfits with the same people watching the same bands.
Same music, yeah.
So you see the lineups and they don't really change over time.
I think there's a reason to that, because the scene is essentially built as a safe space for people that are already overwhelmed by life, which is, by the way, valid,
Yeah.
right? When you're at Resistance, this is a bit different,
Yeah.
you know? You have people that are very open-minded.
Lots of new stuff being booked that hasn't really made it to the rest of the European scene yet.
So here in Britain, I would say we have a problem that it's not promoted good enough, because actually we have a good scene here with good products, with good artists that need a little bit of more exposure. That's the biggest problem here. In Germany, you have a scene that is in some sort of way related, that just doesn't want to do anything new, which makes it for artists particularly actually uninteresting, except for you are already in this thing for 500 years.
Unless you're from 242 or VMV Nation, then it's great.
Pretty much everyone this weekend and at Infest last year said the same thing. So same old bands, especially in Germany.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is valid in the way that people want to go something till they know what's going on for their mental health. But I suppose when you get things like Resistance in the UK and Infest Festival, because of that support and love network, people have that, and that's their constant, so that they don't care what bands are on because they know they'll be good.
And here you get a really good blend of things that you've already done for a bit longer, and new things that you may not necessarily have checked out yet. But Leighton really knows what he's doing there, so I'm always really excited to see what he finds.
Yeah, and particularly he gives a space and a chance to people that are actually not that well known yet. Yeah. This is actually proper promotion. Yeah. You know, if this would be happening, if this would be happening more as a standard, this would all be much more well known, because people would come over, would see this, would experience this, and this would definitely grow. I see much potential in there.
And this flows very well into my next question, actually, because I was going to say that Resistance and Infest are the gold standard in the UK for how to treat artists properly and how to do this right. So what would be your advice, you've experienced Infest as well, haven't you both?
No?
I've never been to Infest.
Never made it.
But having experienced Resistance at least a couple of times, what would you say to other promoters in the world to try and make things a little bit better and easier for everyone?
Foster inclusivity.
Yes.
The biggest mistake that was done in the German scene was they were actively trying to push out people that were different.
Yeah, having dress codes and not letting
Cybergoths
people
are
in because
ridiculous.
of dress codes,
They got
having
rid of
age restrictions.
Yes,
They were
we
trying
had
to do 30 plus parties
yes.
in Germany for a while.
And there were merch items sold by promoters that showed like, you know, someone putting cyberlocks or some shit like that into a trash bin that said keep your scene clean. This is Germany, right? So if you with an attitude like this that promotes othering inside your own scene, you cannot have this.
No.
It is impossible.
Which is really weird because Cybergoths are the ones who usually spend the most money on the music.
Yes.
From what I found. I mean, I was very much a Cybergoth for a really long time. So I was buying every single album that ever came out. So it's really weird to hear.
Yeah,
that.
my friends that were into Cybergoth were also going to every party that they could make it to and every concert and buying all the CDs and all the merch.
When I saw the stuff emerging, I don't know, in the early 2000s, you know, I was also like, I don't know, this looks really ridiculous. What are these people doing under this bridge? And this sort of shit, you know, and then of course we made fun of it, but you know, trying to other people, that's just fucking bizarre. Why would you do that?
Especially in a scene where everybody's already, you know, using the fact that they look weird as sort of a point of pride.
Exactly. And
a sense of identity, and then you can only look weird in this way, but not in that way.
Yes.
I mean, obviously having you DJ on Friday night, you saw everyone was dancing.
Yeah.
And I was doing cyber dancing, even though I was dressed like this. So if you don't like Cybergoths, fuck you. So bands and DJs, they want people to dance, don't they?
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's very strange that they would look at someone dancing and going,
not like that. not like
you
that.
do you, not that. But yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. No, seriously, increase diversity, make people feel welcome. When people feel welcome, they will actually come. They will, if they see other people being nice to each other, they will want that too.
The diversity is a really good point too, because I see a lot of German goth festivals that are booking, I don't know, 80% old dudes, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I totally feel like I belong here.
Yeah, this is very. This totally looks like a scene that I can break into.
And I think we've covered a lot of this already, but what would you say are some of the best things about the scene? And maybe other than what we've already talked about, do you think there's anything else you'd like to see improve?
I want the thing that is happening here in Britain just to grow.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Exactly.
Just more love and understanding.
Yeah.
You know, we can also, you know, dress black and be scary. You know, seriously, you know, if from this comes something, I don't know, throws cakes at the Tory conference or some shit like that, I'd be totally fine with that. You know, we can, I don't know, I'm totally into barricading streets and shit like that. You know, we can totally do that thing. But essentially, you know, it needs to be a space where you are able to explore concepts, where you can explore identities, who you are. You know, not in a way that, you know, in a way of insisting on a certain kind of identity or, you know, making a lot of it. But you know, what happens when I behave different? What happens when I dress up? What happens when I introduce myself with a silly name? This is all good, you know. This is enhancing experience. It is making us larger than we are.
We actually have friends that are doing this weekend that brought clothes that they wouldn't usually wear just to see if they would feel comfortable, because this is a space where they feel they can do that.
Yes,
exactly.
And they can't do that at the German goth festivals.
Yeah, I remember going to Etropolis Festival as a Cybergoth, and I saw other Cybergoths started dancing. No one else danced. So I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. And
one more improvement is slightly less of a platform for some very obviously misogynistic or otherwise problematic music.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
There's a few things that I see popping up on lineups regularly that make me go, ooh.
Okay. And so what's next for you then, X? So other than, I mean, your side project, of course, is coming out, but what's next for you?
Trying to get more gigs, because I really enjoy this and I don't get to actually do this outside of my living room enough.
And are you going to make any solo music yourself under the name of X? Is that all sort of still up in the air?
That's more of a long-term thing, I think.
Also, seriously, doing stuff like this together is just fun, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
What's very new for me here, everything that I was involved here was usually, produced by other people.
Yeah.
Like, for example, by the absolutely wonderful Christian Wesenberg. Amazing dude. He's doing this Waterzone shit. Good man, best man, big beard. At the moment, we are in this process of learning together how to produce things to the end.
Trying to do everything ourselves rather than giving it to somebody else to mix and master.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is a learning curve, definitely.
I can imagine, yeah. And you've got
it's fun.
To help, so yeah.
It's fun doing it, It's fun to learn together.
Exactly.
So last two things then.
Mm-hmm.
So we briefly touched on the promoters need to put on more bands that deserve a bit more love.
Yeah.
So do you have a couple of bands, like one or two bands, that you feel deserve more attention and love?
I'm actually gutted that Noises Violence is not here.
Yeah.
I was really excited to see that.
Yeah, true.
What else is there?
I was very happy that this whole Mechanical Vein thing got some love this year.
Yeah, all
and
the
it was very
stuff.
much this
Very
was
excited
very
about
much
that.
overdue.
Yeah. So this I'm definitely seeing a bright future for that.
Perfect. And very lastly, do you have anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Just that I love you all. Really?
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Much love.
There are we talked about this yesterday. We estimated that we know at least 100 people, maybe more, on this festival by name and have a story with them, and it is absolutely impossible to have an interaction that has the quality that it should have. But nevertheless, I am very excited to have this vibe going on.
Yes.
To have this kind of an understanding that you have even when you are just able to, I don't know, exchange like 3 words or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing that it's sometimes just 3 words, but sometimes it's just 3 words.
But I mean, there's nowhere else really that you can experience that, is there? Where you do know 100, 200 people, you get on really well, doesn't matter if you say 3 words, 1,000 words, it's just that love, isn't it, and Resistance.
Yes.
If you haven't been to Resistance, catch up on.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
my favorite festival on the planet.
Yeah, I'm going here since I think 2011.
Yeah.
Right, it started out. I haven't missed a single one, and I'm happy to be still here.
Well, X and you, thank you ever so much for joining me, and
Thank
for
you.
watching.
Thanks for having us.
Electro.